you know, I was 66 years old when this started. I'm going to be 76 in a couple months. This isn't right. We want to do what's right by the county, but the problems that have been created for us, Scott and I, to complete this project, was for a good purpose, have been thwarted by this planning department for no good reason. There's an existing settlement agreement on Mr. Yee's desk that's being ignored that covers all of these things.
That's why we have to come to this Board of Appeals, because they've overstepped their bounds. And in the meantime, while this violation is pending, we can't proceed on the lot consolidation re-subdivision. We can't reach an agreement with them. We're stuck because they keep violating us, and this time over something that's not true. This is the area of the Pepeekeo power plant, which is now being converted to bioenergy. This is the actual shoreline. This is the physical shoreline. This road here that's along this area, I'm sorry, along this area is a private roadway. This is a private subdivision for lots that are adjacent to the subject property and going north. And for a period of time, we've allowed members of the public within a voluntary agreement with the county to come down this driveway where there is no legal public access and across the front of the property and actually be able to get to the ocean for recreational purposes, for swimming, for fishing, which you can't get to on the existing public access. It was almost universally agreed that yes, the county would like to have this access. This makes sense. People that are disabled, people that are elderly can come down a concrete driveway, walk across a relatively flat area, and actually get to the ocean. But it hasn't happened. And because this lot consolidation re-subdivision has gotten stuck with these violations, the clients have finally said, we can't keep this open anymore. We've had vandalism, we've had material stolen, we've had equipment stolen, sabotaged. We're not going to keep this open anymore. We're going to go back to what you're legally entitled to. So they said, you need to remove this hog wire fence. That hog wire fence with a gap in it doesn't prevent public access, and we don't have to understand why, except that they don't like the hog wire fence there, although there's fences along other lots in this property. And you need to, in this area, this warehouse area, it's hard for people to get through there where the public access was. You know, typically a public access is like 10 feet wide. This meanders all over the property. And that warehouse has been filled with that debris since before 2013. And that's really important because in May of 2013, there was an agreement, and that's Exhibit B. 4 years later, the county comes back and says, the debris in here is a violation. It's not.
Sounds to me like they're admitting that it's a violation. The logs are there and it's blocking public access. Their only issue is, does the settlement agreement in 2013 prevent the department from now saying it's a violation and assessing a fine?
The county has never taken care of anything here. Everything was always kept up by us for the public to use, and we welcome that. To this day, this is the only way in there, and so many people use it now because they can walk from their car that is on our property all the way down to the water's edge without shoes on. It's mowed grass. There isn't an access to the ocean anywhere as nice as what we have provided the county here.
Aside from your permission for a member of the public to allow access from your driveway, is there any other legal right that they have? Can they just walk on it if you say don't do it?
They're not supposed to, but we've allowed it to happen for 6 years.
And you can stop that at any time. You can tell the member of the public, don't use my driveway.
Yes, sir.
And they're not supposed to.
Yes, sir.
And the only legal way, if you do that, is for them to go along the only legal access, although unsafe, you say, is to go through the south side of your property.
Yes, sir, but there is no shoreline access there, where you keep referring to that as shoreline access. You can't get anywhere near the shoreline unless you trespass on our property, which we've allowed.
Aside from that, though, that's the only legal means for a member of the public to access the shoreline.
Yes.
That's a lot of square feet of property that we're given to create a safe public access. It was a win-win. but that meeting was in 2014. This is 2017, 3 years ago. And, you know, Steve and Mr. Brillante created a agreement that Dwayne, when he was the director, accepted. We submitted it to the county that resolved all these things again and provided that public access. It was never signed, never signed, never signed. We finally said, sign it by such and such a date or we're done.
You can't allow them to do that. That's not fair. It's not legal, and it's not right. This the third violation, yeah, we admitted that interior gate, our bad, our mistake, fine us $250, it's already fixed. But this one, you have to remove this debris, not true, not right, don't let them get away with it.
Basically, what this comes down to is there's only one legal access for the public to access the shoreline. The planning department is trying to enforce and make that available to members of the public. Accessibility and safety issues aside, there's only one legal way for public to access the shoreline, and that's through that choke point which is blocked. The fact that Mr. Watson has allowed the public to go through his driveway and access it a different way shouldn't matter to this board, because he can block that at any time. He can say, public, you concluded you cannot access it through my driveway anymore. Then what? The public has no access point because the only legal one is blocked. And that's what the planning department is trying to remedy. Safety issues aside, current accessibility issues aside, that's the only legal one. And it has to be available and debris-free. And that's why we pursue the notice of violation, so the public does have access to the only legal way to get to that shoreline.